I had an intro. I didn't have it. I had what I wanted to say, and I couldn't think. Ugh. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Free Refill episode 23. Week 12 is in the books. We got some more NFL stuff to talk about. I am not happy about that performance. Bears, literally, actually, Cincinnati found a way to beat New England, all of the AFC North. Pittsburgh's officially lost first place in the division. I knew it was gonna happen, but they couldn't hold it for any longer than they did. Shedeur Sanders winning his first NFL start, getting Chip Kelly fired. Myles Garrett not even single-handedly getting Kelly fired. I mean, the rest of the season had an impact too. I definitely felt like that was the game where it's like, give up 10 sacks, buddy, you're kind of cooked. We still had to react to we got to react to Thursday Night Football. The Houston Texans upsetting the Buffalo Bills. The Rams absolutely belt to ass. BTA, ladies and gentlemen, just took it to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Philadelphia Eagles blowing a 21-point lead and losing on the road to the Dallas Cowboys. Their second half offense was just not there. And the Kansas City Chiefs, once again, still find a way to somehow stay alive in the playoff race. We've got some games to talk about, and of course, within the game tonight that we're going to preview, 49ers Panthers. Probably the hour. And if it is your first time watching this channel, let me know what you think by either hitting the like button or commenting that I suck. I don't know. Figure it out. Pick a lane and stick with it. Don't be like the media when it comes to Shedeur Sanders and switch lanes every 2 days. Not a fan of that. I mean, I do that too, but as a bit. Media doesn't do it as a bit. They do it for real big bucks. I do it for a bit. I am just a professional hate watcher. I think all time I am a top 1,000 hate watcher. I am working my way into being top 500, and I think I'm probably in the 550s. I think I can get up to being a professional. I know. Very good at it. Doesn't matter if you're good, bad, somewhere in the middle. I can find a way to hate. It works. Joining me, of course, in the box of shame, none other than former Raiders offensive coordinator Chip Kelly. It was a disgrace watching the Raiders offense this weekend as well as all season. But we'll get into that when we talk Raiders. Of course, let's unveil the big board of... Wow, that was a sloppy trade. What? Does it just automatically do that now? It just... Okay, that was better. Hold on. Okay, that looks weird. I don't know why that looks faster. It looks way faster than it. I'm wondering if that got changed. Whatever, we're on this screen now, so it doesn't matter, but that was weird. Why did it do that? I have to, figure stuff out. I don't know. Thought that position override. Is there not one? Fade. Yeah. What? Are you kidding me? It just... No! It doesn't... No! Come on! That's ridiculous. What do you mean? Transition... No. It should fade. It doesn't work. Bro, give me a break. I thought... You know what? I ain't got words, man. I have no words. Because that works. That works fine. Because this is not on fade? Okay, there we go. Dumb. Whatever. We did it. Okay. Completely thrown for a loop. But we're back. As usual, I'm going to be ranking how good your team won and how good your team lost, pretty much. How good was your team this past week? We're about to find out. I'll tell you one team that was bad and yucky stuff. I got to go with the Bills. And listen, the reason why I think the Bills' loss is a little bit more yucky than it is closer to a loss with just questions. Obviously, there are questions. All of these lost questions. The Bills was just exceptionally bad. The reason I say this is because I think you're going to face good pass rush in this. I think there was sort of a telling that Josh Allen was not going to play exceptional. I think there was just a feeling in the room that after a massive performance against Tampa, Houston was going to kind of not allow Josh Allen to do that on the road. And I love Josh. I think he's undoubtedly like a top 3 quarterback, probably even the best in the league. At a certain point, the Buffalo Bills need to stop putting everything on others. Their defense is just not playing on the same level, and that's shocking because Sean McDermott, the head coach, like a defense head coach, and that's what I've never understood fully about Sean McDermott. And I've always been lukewarm with him. Like, I think he's a good head coach, but I really don't think he's exceptionally great. Like, he's one of those coaches that's really good at changing the culture, but in terms of taking that culture all the way, I've just never really seen it with him. Like, even right now, like, I can envision the Bills and Josh Allen winning. But to say Sean McDermott is a Super Bowl winning head coach just doesn't sound right coming out of your mouth, right? Even whether it's true or not, it just doesn't feel as strong. And I think my question is, if you're Buffalo, like, again, you've gotten so close every time. Like, when are you gonna finally take the next leap? Right? And I mean, especially now with New England leading this division now by 2 games, there's severe question mark. Like, basically, if Buffalo wants to win the division, they can't lose at all the rest of the year. Pretty much what the idea is. So I don't know. I don't think that's gonna happen based on the rest of New England's schedule. Like, I don't know if there's another loss there that's not to the right. I don't know, and there's no even guarantee they lose to Buffalo anyway. So. Not a good loss for the Bills to have, seriously. Especially after losing to the Texans the way they did last year, and then the fact that this was Davis Mills. Davis Mills, not even. But for the Texans, I mean, listen, I think that's a big win. I think that's a big win for a couple reasons. Number one, you did it with your backup. Number two, you were 0-3 to start the year. You started the year 3 straight losses. And you have won 6 of your last 8 games. And you haven't even been particularly impressive offensively. So to me, that's big. I think that's huge if you're a Texan team that needed some sort of push in like saying, okay, we need to do something right, because their defense was even struggling at times early. DeMeco Ryans says, all right, we got the defense under lock and key. This defense is one of, if not the best in the league. Now it's a question of where's offense going to be generated from. I think a couple things they would love. I know Davis Mills has played solidly. I still think bringing back C.J. Stroud and getting him back in the line healthy is critical for Houston if they want to actually attempt to make a playoff push. And I would also say more Nico Collins. Like, now that Joe Mixon is officially not returning this year, I want to get Nico involved. Just have to get that man more. Because that man is going to be lifeline for the rest of the year. Don't think there's enough offense anywhere else on this. That was a big win for Houston. For them to get that win was. Moving along, I'll go to like kind of a not important game much. Jets Ravens. Ravens. Nothing particularly impressive, at least in my opinion. We're at home against the Jets. I'm actually shocked they didn't win this by more points. But it was fine. I mean, it took them a while, which does concern the whole half of football to really start to feel. I guess the Jets kind of played okay-ish. I mean, I guess it's not even a loss. I guess it's just a loss with more questions. Like, if you're Baltimore, congrats. Played very well. Did fine. If you're the New York Jets, and people are saying, oh, Justin Fields would have done more. I 100% disagree. I don't think Justin Fields can read. Tyrod Taylor has somewhat of an ability to hold. If you're the Jets, this is just playing for next year at this point. This is just seeing who you're willing to keep. Like, are you going to keep Breece Hall next year, which my opinion, no, I think Paul is going to be a free agent. Deciding who's staying and who's going. And I don't think this really. I think this just that's what's going to the rest of the season. Who is going to be worth keeping? As for the Ravens, this win and the Steelers' loss, they do take first. They're now tied for first place technically, but the Ravens have the edge, I believe, because I want to say it's division win higher. Lost a division. I believe that is because they beat Cleveland twice and then they've not yet. This was, I mean, listen, if you're Baltimore, this kind of feels. This is, I think, a very important part of the year. Now, for the first time, I think in a year, in many of these seasons, and with up, the Ravens, you could argue, haven't really peaked. Like, they have not been in a position where it's like, oh, they're the best team. There's never a point where like they're the best team in the league. Now all of a sudden, they've won. I believe 5 in a row. They were 1-5 at one point. Like 1-5. They were not. They may have been. That may be wrong. They were not in a good position. They at one point have 5 losses stacked up. It looked like rough, and then the rest of their schedule was very easy. They handled that schedule fairly easily, and I believe on Thursday this coming week, they're gonna face off against the Bengals, and I don't think Burrow's gonna go. I think it's still Flacco. So maybe Flacco pulls off an upset. It's not impossible, but I just think Baltimore's just gonna do numbers on that Bengals defense. We'll see where this ends up going. To me right now, as a Steelers fan, it feels like the Ravens. Yeah, it's also Pittsburgh's division to lose, both their own destiny, but it feels like one team here, 100% just better, well equipped. So yeah. Done talking about that AFC North team. Talking about another AFC North team, Bengals. My goodness, what this kind of even like a loss with more mid win / loss. Where it's more that than any. Of course. Whatever. Moving on. To the Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah, that was tough. I mean, that was just a loss. You played very well at home. I'm going to give a lot of credit here to Cincinnati. They did lose, but it was probably the most impressive loss of the day, considering you're going. Actually, you could also argue the Giants are in there. But I think when you think about what Cincinnati was doing at home, currently 1-seeded Patriots, the way Drake may have been playing all year, and with no Jamar Chase, the expectation was. And honestly, they could have won if Joe Flacco didn't make one of the worst throws I've ever seen. I mean, he's been. Listen, I've known there are some famous Joe Flacco pick six. This wasn't necessarily one of them, but you all know the one I'm. The way I see it, Cincinnati Bengals, season's over. Like I don't think there's any coming back from this, even if Burrow comes back, because this defense is so inept. I feel like even now there's a good chance you'd be rushing Burrow back. It's still not an incredible offensive line. I think for Cincinnati, I think that was that last game against the Patriots felt like there was a glimmer of hope there that maybe they do something with. But I'll be honest, I think for whatever reason, what was it last? Last year was the Patriots upset the Bengals. This year, the Patriots struggled with them. So I just feel like between New England and Cincinnati, at least the last 2 seasons, it's been a weirdly close matchup when it honestly feels like it should. I don't really know what the status is there. For Cincinnati, that's a tough one. For New England, though, I do think this does raise the genuine question. Because we've seen this Bengal defense. Not good. We know definitively that it's not good. And obviously New England's played well against solid defenses. But I think, number one, this was not this underwhelming performance from this offense. And number two, losing Will Campbell doesn't help either. I mean, that's probably your best young lineman. Now lose a starter there. And I think when we talk about offensive line continuity, I think it really matters, especially down the stretch, having guys that have been in that position all year long. And I think when I say continuity, I mean you have the same guys starting, and so like let's say for example, like not having like you're having a backup play like the last couple of weeks, all of a sudden enters the playoffs and is not ready to go. That's a problem. And it looks like they're optimistic that he could return this year. It seems like it's just a sprain in the MCL, just rud. So it is possible we see him back, and if you're saying that he's back, because I mean we've seen at times the season offensive line been overwhelmed, like great example. I mean they still won that game by a lot, but Cleveland was scared dominating the offensive and earlier in the year against Pittsburgh. Now the unit has gotten better, but it still can be their kryptonite. I think them versus give vibes of like AFC champion. It feels like it would be that vibe where Denver's just harassing. We would have to see. Moving along. Oh god, late game. New Orleans Saints losing to the Atlanta Falcons. I'll be honest, that's yucky stuff. I don't think it's the big. I didn't expect like New Orleans is still starting Tyler Shuck. I had to start Tyler Shuck in fantasy. How ridiculously banged up I had Jaden Daniels, I had Joe Flacco. I preferred Shuck. I guess I was kind of right based off of. No, I wasn't really right. They were terrible options. New Orleans is not a good team. I like Shuck. I still think there's some positives, but to lose to Atlanta at home, a team that had, in my opinion, had every reason to. Like, I'll say for Atlanta, I didn't even catch much of it. I'll say it was fine. I mean, listen, New Orleans is. Listen, I saw some of these plays. One of the things that I did see in the few moments that I did see the New Orleans Saints, why is Taysom Hill getting all these snaps? Why is Taysom Hill still, like, I'm sorry, I understand you paid him a lot of money. The fact that Taysom Hill is still a big, like, even, like, remotely a factor in the New Orleans Saints offense is just bad juju. Bad juju. Let the man go. Let him go. It was fun for a little bit. It's so not uninteresting. Like, I get it. Once a year, he's going to have, like, a 30, 40-point fantasy performance. That's it. Right? And then he'll do basically nothing else all year. It's too bizarre. Right? It is. It's bizarre. It's weird. It's confusing. Please stop. All right? Get Taysom Hill out of New Orleans. Send him with Sean Payton in Denver. Maybe, like, jazz it up a little bit. But outside of that, I think Taysom Hill is... Honestly, if I'm a Saints fan, I'd be exhausted. Nothing there for him. As for Atlanta, I'm happy for Kirk, right? Because a lot of people trying to like write him off. Gosh, holy crap! What the heck? Ah! Anyway, I'm happy for Kirk. Happy for Kirk because I've always kind of liked him. I think what people don't get about Kirk, what is weirdly enough, I think he has this he's always had a chip on his shoulder in the that he's a 4th-round pick. He wasn't even the first quarterback that his own team took. And yet he always feels like he's gotten written off in multiple cases, and this is probably closer to the end of the line than anything else. But I've always liked him. I think he's been better than average. I think he has had what he is, and if you know what he is, then he's really fun. Like, if you understand what Kirk Cousins is as someone who has him on your team, or someone who's just casually watching the NFL, I think it works really well. I think he's... You know what? I am happy that Kirk was able to get this win. Hold on a second. I gotta, like... Oh. Oh, ridiculous. It's odd. I don't know. I don't know if it's allergies, but I'm never. Whenever I'm sick, I'm just sick. I don't think it's allergies. Moving on. The New York Giants. I got to give you the Giants a lot of credit. That was probably us. I'll even say that mid-win / impressive. Honestly, would then put the Jets in. Yep. That's the New York Giants. I would even put I'll probably put Baltimore in here actually because I feel like the win for New England isn't that unquestioned because I'll explain it. Regardless, I think for the New York Giants, that was so well. I mean, listen, and this is not a controversial take. So many people, but Jameis Winston just always needs. Until Jameis Winston retires, he needs to be a starter every year. Every year for at least half the season. Because he just is right now the Giants are out of the playoffs and they're arguably one of the most fun. Right? Seeing that game against Detroit, seeing Jameis Winston not only catch a pass, but he's got a guy on him. That's the thing. The Lions almost stopped the trick play. They just needed to cover Jameis. Jameis makes the catch and breaks away from it, too. I understand that Jameis is big, but most of the time that play is being run to the quarterback, you're usually expecting the quarterback to be wide open. Right? Jameis is just an athlete. And I think it's actually shown that in the last decade, we're starting to see way more athletic quarterbacks. And Jameis came out, he was drafted ago. And even in his 30s, bro is athletic. Bro is just got a build. Is he in his 30s? He has to be 30, right? Jameis is 30 years old? Because he was drafted in 2015. I would imagine he was 21, so he's 31. He's not 30s 30. But he's he's no spring chicken. Yeah, he's 31. And to be able to do that, amazing stuff. Just one of the most amazing plays to watch I've ever seen. And then after, but I got to give him credit. And Wan'Dale Robinson, of course, I played him in 2 leagues, lost both of those games. That was very cool. Thanks, Jameis, for that, I guess. But, man, I can't even be mad at the guy. The guy just always has a grin on his face. He's always eating a W. Very, very, very well done. Very well done. Tough one as they lost. As for the Lions, I don't think it was a mid-win because I feel like they put their stamp on it at the end, but Jahmyr Gibbs single-handed. I mean, what was it? 55? 50s? I think it was the best fantasy performance all year. Single-handedly. And it's actually, to me, this is an interesting one, right? Starting, I think now, in terms of the Lions, I think they'll be fine-ish. I think the playoffs was important that they won, but I don't, it's still got a lot of questions. How is New York? I guess New York has done this with a lot of teams, so I want to say the Lions should have won more than they did, but New York did this with Denver. The Giants have been way better than people are giving credit. They're actually in games and probably should be winning games. In fact, I believe they just fired their defensive coordinator. I believe Mike Kafka made a decision to fire Shane Bowden, I want to say. I believe it is Bowden. Shane Bowen, not Bowden. Close. Almost had. Dang it. Dying. Oh yeah, Shane Bowen fired. Mike Kafka decision. They could be in a lot more games. And honestly, their defense generates sacks. Brian Burns gets pressures. He's second in the league in sacks, right? So asking those kind of things, he's just that guy. Does a lot of things very well, so I got to give him credit in that. Brian Burns being incredible, Dexter Lawrence being incredible. Bill Carter needs to step up his game, but overall, I think he will at some point. But if you're the New York Giants, yeah, I think they're going to clear a lot of house, and I think they do have good players. they've actually got really good players. Like, they'll have Dart next year. They'll have Scadaboo. They'll hopefully have Scadaboo and Neighbors fully healthy next year. Theo Johnson's been not great, but like underrated. Andrew Thomas is a very good left tackle. Brian Burns and Dexter Lawrence. They just need to address some back end problems and probably add like one more piece for Dart, whether it's like a receiver or like someone extra on the line. I think those are the things that you've done if that moving. And before I move on, I want to talk the Lions real quick. I'll talk Jahmyr Gibbs specifically. I think people will have not had this yet because it's still debatable. It's still like arguably early. But is it time to start having the conversation who is better, Gibbs or Bijan? Like, I think a lot of people, if I ask that question, I don't know how split. How split is the result of who's a better running back, me or Bijan? Maybe it's biased because Jahmyr dominated this last week and Atlanta kind of sucks. And maybe doesn't have the best offensive line as opposed to Detroit's. And Bijan doesn't have, like, Bijan's running mate is Tyler Algier versus David Montgomery. So there are a lot of like differing factors, but it is an interesting question. Like, is Gibbs as good? Like, is Gibbs this good? Is Gibbs better than Bijan? Is Gibbs right now, dare I say, well, okay, there is still Jonathan Taylor. Dare I say, like, the best or second best running back in football? It's not crazy to say that. I don't think. I think right now probably still Jonathan Taylor, but Gibbs. I think I don't know, that kind of performance. That kind of put your team back performance. That's the case. That's what you would expect one of the best running backs in the league. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, after that game, one NFC North team to another, two NFC North teams actually, we're looking at one of the biggest losers, Minnesota Vikings. Is JJ McCarthy ever going to figure it out? JJ McCarthy, future franchise quarterback. Vikings gonna make the playoffs this year with JJ McCarthy. That is, those are all no, by the way. Couldn't tell. I have not been a JJ McCarthy supporter after when I had some. Yeah, I mean, I think today was a prime example that this doesn't. I think I'd say it's a couple things. I think the main thing is that we kind of knew in the 2024 NFL, okay, one of these guys is not. You had to guess going in, probably going to be Bo. Second most likely was going to be JJ McCarthy. And the reality is, I get it. It's technically his first season. By the same metric, we saw what Sam Darnold did. We've seen what Kirk Cousins is. And I get it, those guys have been here. If you're Minnesota, it doesn't matter whether he has time to figure it out. This is not a question of, because you don't have it. Don't have the time to figure this out. Your roster is very good right now. You have a lot of good players. And the fact of the matter is, you don't have time to figure out if JJ McCarthy is good. You just need good. And if you don't think he's good, get better. Draft a different guy. Trade for a quarterback in a bet. Like, this is maybe a hot take. I think Tua kind of fits. Like, they would struggle in Green Bay all the time. The reality is, I think Tua in a dome and with slightly better accuracy and a little bit of protection. Listen, I get it. McCarthy's got some athleticism and he's not bad. But the reality is, you're Minnesota. This is not okay. This division is now all of a sudden completely gotten away from you. Where you had 14 wins last year, you already have 7 losses. You've doubled your loss total already, which was kind of expected just because winning 14 games is hard. But even like the best pieces of your offense can't get involved. Like Justin Jefferson, where has he been? Like, why is he not a large focal point? So, like, everybody on Minnesota's just been worse. Worse for wear because JJ McCarthy's just struggled. So, and I think a lot of people are like, well, look at what they did against beat the Lions, and then it's like one of those things where McCarthy's going to do this like 1 out of every 5 games where he's going to be better than average. And then the other 4 games, he's just going to be bad. It just was unacceptable. This is a brutal loss for the Vikings. I think at this point, I understand most people would say be patient and wait. This isn't a roster that has that luxury. Normally, when you draft a quarterback, you got a bad roster and you got to build it up, help the quarterback. This is not a roster that can sit around and wait for JJ McCarthy to be kind of okay. Listen, greatness does not take long to reveal itself. It doesn't. So, not a roster that can afford it. So that loss was have happened. As for Green Bay, I think it was amazing. I didn't think they were particularly exceptional. But listen, JJ McCarthy played poorly. Green Bay took advantage. Finally started, like, Evan Williams, not a bad safety, especially when I haven't been able to, like, when you look at Evan Williams, what about Xavier McKinney? That's what I was about to think. I was like, wait a minute, is Xavier McKinney? I haven't seen him a lot this year. My question is, where is he? I think he has, because last time I saw him play was against Carolina. Like, he's been good, but I thought, like, dang, is Xavier out? Is he not getting picked? Okay, it just looks like not getting his receptions. But, listen, him with Evan Williams, not a bad safety duo. And I think Green Bay, I still kind of feel like none of the NFC in terms of being able to make a. Maybe I'm wrong. Tripping. That being said, I think there is a very real, I'll say, bizarre. I don't think Green Bay's still not a Super Bowl. That's what I mean to say. Green Bay's not a full. They lack a lot of pieces offensively. They're missing they don't have great wide receivers. They just don't. We haven't seen Jaden Reed come back yet. Tucker Kraft now out. They're still missing a lot of those key pieces. I think we saw it against a team like Philadelphia. I know they were able to do it against Minnesota, but the quarterback difference, it's a large gap. But big win for Green Bay. Keeps it within division. Solid work. Green Bay, Detroit, Chicago, they're all there. The NFC North should be a fun finish. Oh, just like last year. Last year it was a close race to the end between the Lions and the Vikings. We got a 3-man race. So pretty exciting. I'm going to jump to Sunday Night Football. The LA Rams, my gosh. I mean, they just keep. I think right now the best team. Matthew Stafford. I know Jonathan Taylor. I know running back, wanting to see a running back win MVP. I get it. This is different. Matthew Stafford's playing at an incredible level. I mean, he just is. I can even look like right now. If I go in and just look up Matthew Stafford and his stats, like, he's the guy. Okay? He just is. And the reality is, like, think of Jared Goff and think about how Jared Goff gets MVP. Jared Goff got MVP. We were like, Jared Goff. Like, well, he was 4th, obviously, behind like 3 very clear contenders, but like, Matthew Stafford did in LA what Jared Goff couldn't. And that was win a Super Bowl. Okay? And I get it. Jared is doing what Matthew couldn't do in Detroit. But remember how much value the Lions got for Matthew Stafford. It was a lot. It was a lot. They got Goff and multiple picks. So, and when you look at this, 30 touchdown passes. Like, that's insane to me. He's projected to finish with over 4,000 yards, 46 touchdowns. Like, 3 interceptions. If you, like, 46 touchdown passes, 3 interceptions. That's what he's projected to finish. That's an insane ratio. That's incredible. Like, it may not be gaudy. It may not be the 5,050 touchdowns we had seen in former MVPs. And I agree. I wish we were seeing those numbers. We just aren't right now. But for what Stafford is doing for this team, to be leading them the way that he is, like, this is, I can't believe I'm saying this. This team is better This is real. This team feels better than the team that won the Super Bowl 4 years ago. It does. It feels like a better team. That's crazy. It's crazy that this team feels better with guys like Puka and Devontae Adams and Tyrone Williams. Not to mention Byron Young first. Like they've got dudes. They got dudes all over this field. The Rams completely took it to the Bucs. A playoff team. A playoff team that was started so well. So, I mean, they beat Seattle. They beat San Francisco. They beat the other two teams that are contending for the division right now. They're just looking to stay ahead of Philly so they can be the 1 seed. That's what they're looking to do. My gosh, I mean, it's unreal. I know it's not. I know it's the lame pick. I don't care. I'm taking Stafford. I know people would say, "Oh, it should be Jonathan Taylor." Not saying you're wrong, but I'm taking Matthew Stafford. As for the Bucs, that was tough, and I think it was tough for a lot of reasons. And it's not just because they lost big, because now Baker Mayfield with an AC sprain. And it's similar to Josh Allen a little bit, in the sense that they are asking Baker a lot. They were asking him to do a lot early in the year, and we're kind of starting to see a bit of the wear for a guy that is say what you will about Baker, he is incredible, but he is a smaller guy. So those bigger hits are going to hit all the more harder when you are smaller individual. For Baker Mayfield, I mean, those hits have started to rack up a little bit, and we saw him exit the game with an injury. Mike Egbuka just feels like a non-factor right now. Mike Evans has been out. There's been no Bucky Irving. The injuries have made their toll, and this kind of happened to Tampa last year. Remember, Tampa was 4-6. Atlanta was actually 6-4 and had the control of the division. Now Carolina has a golden opportunity tonight to take the lead in the division. So if you're Tampa, what you're really looking to do, you're looking to get right, you're looking to get healthy. I think that's what's important right now. If they can get healthy, they can still win the division. But my goodness, if you're Tampa, that was not just losing the game is one thing, but to lose it in the fashion you did, and then to see another one of your players go down, it is a tough one there for Tampa. Good news is, for Tampa, they should hopefully be healthy by the time they get to playing the Panthers in the last 3 weeks. But we'll see where that goes, man. I'm interested in what Tampa will look like down the stretch. Because I'd like to see some Baker Mayfield. Back to our 1 o'clock slate. Chicago. It was fun. I'll give them that. But even outside of just being a Steelers fan, I do still have questions. Number one, yes, this team is 8-3. But I'm going to tell you right now, they did play a backup quarterback. They played Mason Rudolph. They played an inept offense. And they made some mistakes in this. That's the thing with Chicago. They never really look as clean as you'd like them to be. I don't think they ever will be as clean as you'd like them to be, Caleb Williams. But I think in a game that, I mean, they struggled in the first half at times. In the second half, they were able to come back. But even then, Pittsburgh had chances. Like, I just think Pittsburgh failed to capitalize more than Chicago capitalized. Does that make sense? Like, I don't think Chicago was making enough of Steelers make their forced errors. It feels like Pittsburgh having those errors. Like, I'll tell you, man, listen, I'm going to say it, like, that was, I don't even think that was an impressive loss. Like, I don't think we lost in an impressive way. I just think that we missed out on opportunities. Like, early on in the game, Mason Rudolph throws it deep. Reception. Also had the fumble. And looking at Mason, I mean, also, Mason had a huge run in this game that was negated because of illegal shift. I think if that play ends up counting, then I think the Steelers won to win this game. That was one of the most cool penalties I had seen all day. And not that it was like unwarranted, but I'm not gonna sit here and act like that had an actual effect. Like, because it clearly didn't. It is what it is. You know, you get penalized, you don't get the yards, you don't get the play. It is what it is. It does bother me that Pittsburgh lost this game because I'll tell you right now, I think Chicago is the most fraudulent team. Listen, the Bears. The fact that the Bears won this game is just an absolute travesty. Because Pittsburgh, I feel like, needed to win both against Cincinnati and against Chicago to have any chance of playoffs, and I'm losing the game basically next match of loss, and that's gonna be. I will say, I give Pittsburgh the credit, or I give rather Chicago their credit. This has been Mike Tomlin. Underwhelming in these spots, in these very winnable games, and not coming up big. At some point, a plug has to be pulled, either on the offensive. I would say probably. I wouldn't doubt if Terrell Austin should go. And significant changes needed in Pittsburgh because the DK Metcalf trade has just actively not worked. What I thought was a lateral move has actually been a 100% downgrade. Has not been effective. Metcalf is just not like a number. Hasn't. And hey, look, if he was even like at 75% of what Pickens is putting up, that would be fine, but he's not. Look at the graphic right now. George Pickens is probably, I think, what number right now? And Steelers combined probably don't have barely as much yards. It is not okay for. As a Steelers fan, it bothers me. It bothers me that this is out. I think it just that Mike Tomlin, there's got to be a change. Has to be. I don't know whether it's in the coaching staff. I don't know what the change is. It could be that maybe we have to finally let Tomlin go. It could just be move your house with a couple of players and try something else next year. But this whole like rinse and repeat of this garbage is not okay. Not okay. It's wearing on my psyche. I'm like losing. Not okay. Just not. Having. Oh, you know what? You know who else was a big loser? Philly. How about them Cowboys? My gosh. 21 points. This happened. That was funny. This is the second time this happened this year. Philadelphia played an amazing first half against Dallas, and almost time it actually happened. Probably because it was in Dallas. For Philadelphia to lose this game, and then for Dallas to almost. Let me tell you something. The fact of the matter that Dallas won this game is just, dude. This entire team just disappeared in the second half. And Saquon had an awful fumble. You had Gibson on the punt return just fumbling. Like, it was such an. And here's the weird thing. Here's the thing about the Philadelphia Eagles right now. How do you lose that game? Like, how do you let Dallas win that game? I'm stunned. I'm stunned that it happened. I am. I'm still in shock. Like, for Dallas, dude, huge win. Massive win. To come back and win that game, like, I would not have thought Marty Schottenheimer would actually be like Dallas is still winning. Dak looks like he's played Dak has honestly played, I won't say his best football, but it's definitely been better than what we saw in the first half of last year. God, Philly, hello. What are we doing blowing 21-point leads? Like, this team has been a single half team all year. All year. They can play 30 minutes well, and then the other 30 minutes doesn't. So insane. And here we are. And now Philly's lost control of the 1 seed, right? Now it's the Rams. And I know Philly does have the head-to-head, so. But, yikes. Yikes, dude. Not okay. Not good. Not good at all. I thought it was funny. I always think it's funny. Just, I don't know. Right? Like, when the Super Bowl champion, like, at a certain point, watching the Eagles lose is incredibly entertaining because nobody really. They just won the Super Bowl, right? You know, the team that's on top, everybody loves it when they're down. Great. Because they should. Like, come on. You guys had too much fun. Now it's time to take it away. What a win for Dak. My gosh. I think, honestly, now listen, it would take a crazy collapse for Philly to not win the division. Think about this. Think about the headlines. Astronomical collapse that happened in Philly. Like, if I'm gonna go on my phone real quick. on my phone. I'm going to look at their schedule. And I want to see if the Eagles, like let's say this, the Eagles, because remember they were 10-1 a few, right? And it's like, oh, they're fine. They finished the season 11-6 and lost. So, like, could you imagine? It's just fun to think about. They play and it's not an easy stretch to the end. They have to play the Bears. I mean, I think are frauds, but it's a losable game. They got to go to play the Chargers. They got the Raiders. That's an easy one. They got the Commanders twice, which should be able to sweep, but Jaden Daniels might play, so again, there's no guarantees there. Jaden Daniels just might want to spoil the Eagles. I would want to, especially after what happened last year. And you got the Bills late in the year. So it's going to be interesting to see how Philly closes it out versus, like, let me look at the Rams schedule just for at least the one seed. Okay, Rams don't have it like... actually, Rams... Oh, no, they kind of do. So they'll play the Panthers. Play in Carolina. That could be a loss, but I don't buy into the Panthers. They'll get the Cardinals. They'll play at Cardinals. They'll host the Lions. They got to go to Seattle. Got to go to Atlanta, and then they'll grab with Cardinals. Honestly, I don't see the Rams really losing. San Francisco can't affect them at all, and San Francisco's back a couple games. It should be interesting, but I think the Rams are the guys. And that's what's moving along. Raiders, yucky, dude. That was your biggest loser. You know why? Because you had to fire your offensive coordinator. That's how. You had to fire Chip Kelly. Now listen, I'm not here sitting saying Chip Kelly was good, but you had to fire your OC. That means you sucked. You were so bad. I think it was 10 sacks? Was it 10? Did they hit double digits? Myles Garrett, I think, had 2. It was either 2 or 3. I don't remember. But they dominated. The Cleveland Browns front dominated. And I understand they're good guys. First of all, this offense, the only time I saw this offense be good was, I think, against Jacksonville when Brock Bowers went off. Like, that's it. That's the only time. The offense has been kind of inept outside of that. Remember, you know what's funny? What are the Raiders' 2 wins? They beat New England and they beat someone else. Like, think about this. And think about this that's interesting. The Patriots' 2 losses? Steelers and Raiders. What sense does it make? Like, it's unbelievable. It's ridiculous is what it is. Ridiculous. Yet, here we are. That was just 2 losses. 1 and 2 to start the year. They're fine now. Oh my gosh! Wild. Actually wild. Regardless, Raiders, come on. Hit a rookie, bro. Here's the thing. For Cleveland, it was a win, but I think and this isn't even like a negative thing. For the Raiders, it was terrible losing. But for Cleveland, I think it's interesting. I think it's a couple of reasons. Number 1, Shedeur won. Excellent job, Shedeur. Won the game. I am closer to a Shedeur hater than I am but I'm also trying to be like a Shedeur realist. I am. I'm trying to be a realist about it. Whether you believe that or not, it is. I'm trying to be a realist on it. Because on the one hand, Cleveland does have a situation for having an inept offense. Been inept. They've been bad. They've been bad for years. On the other hand, I think it is weird that Cleveland won't support their franchise. Now, granted, Cleveland sucks at doing that in general. They do. They're bad at it. But still, like, it shocks me. But it also shouldn't shock people when a bad organization doesn't know how to help out their young quarterback. Like, that's the thing. I don't think that should be shocking in them. Cleveland is bad. Right? They don't know how to actually help out their offensive or, frankly, defensive players. They just don't know how to do it. They haven't done it for the majority of their history. So I wouldn't expect them to do it now. That being said, Shedeur played like what a rookie plays like. That was a rookie performance. Like, I understand we're like crapping all over him, but like that's a rookie, dude. That's a rookie quarterback. That's what you watch. Now we've been spoiled with some great rookie quarterback play, like Jackson Dart was not like this year. past. Like Jayden Daniels last year too. Oh, Nix as well. Like, we've been spoiled with pretty good rookie quarterback play. That's what a rookie quarterback normally looks like. So I don't know where. Now, granted, I'm a hater because he's a Brown. He's a Cleveland Brown. Like I gotta hate you. It just works. But I don't understand where it's this weird understanding where, wow, he wasn't terrible. Like 55% is not great. Don't get me wrong. It's not great, and you'd like it to be better. But listen, he's a rookie. What else do you want from him? Like, he's not going to go out there and throw, 18 to 20 for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, no turnovers, no sacks. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen in Cleveland. I don't know what. That's a rookie quarterback. Rookie, it is what it is. He's a rookie quarterback. We'll see if it lasts or if it doesn't. But that is what a rookie looks like. Don't try to that's what it is. Say rookie quarterback. What is? What is? It's what it looks like. The other games. We got a couple more, and then I'm probably gonna tune into 49ers Panthers because I'm kind of hate watching Carolina right now. I'm hate watching both. Whatever. Let's get into Cardinals Jags. That was actually a very impressive loss, and honestly, for Jacksonville, that was a very mid-win. Like, I thought Jacksonville was going to go in and dominate Arizona. They did not do that. And I think part of it was because of that early, pick six. He was getting into the end zone, but Arizona's not very good. I think Jonathan Gannon's probably fired by the end of the year. I forgot what to do with Kyler Murray. Not much here. If you're Jacksonville, this was a mid-win, but I think it was important that they did win because they made up ground for it. Say it what you want. They made up ground. They caught Indy a little bit. Trying to make up ground. They South race did this week. And I said it, man. I don't think it's a guarantee that the Colts win this division. I still think Jacksonville has a shot down the stretch. We'll see where that ends up leading. But this didn't prove my faith in that. I really feel like they should have played the Cardinals better and been better offensively. But they won the game, so what it is. But I also feel it in the past, Jacksonville, earlier this year, when they lost to Jake Browning, oh man, same old Jacksonville. By winning this game, it does feel a little different. So for now, just a mid win. It wasn't very impressive. You know what? Not all of them are gonna. Jacksonville will figure it out. And the thing is, Jacksonville is still, oddly enough, they're winning football games, but it still feels like they haven't figured out their own. They're winning games, but they don't feel impressive. Nobody thinks they're going on a deep. You know what I mean? It just doesn't feel. They could out of nowhere, and it'd be the great. But that's the thing. It's just insane. Nobody thinks it can happen. Moving along, we gotta talk about this. Let me actually get one out. Seattle, I mean, I'll say good performance because they only beat them by 6, but they really dominated. And you know what? For the Titans, I think that was an impressive loss. Cam Ward actually started to show some strides, look really good. As for Seattle, Jackson Smith-Njigba somehow broke the all-time Seahawks receiver. Kind of crazy that it was previously held by DK Metcalf, somehow not Steve Largent. I always thought Largent had a 1,500. No, it was only 1,200. Kind of crazy. 1,287, I think. That's kind of crazy. That's kind of nuts that JSN is the active leader in Seahawks receiving yards in a season, and yet he still has the rest of the play. So, hats off to JSN right now. He's trying to come for that top receiver crown, and he's had an incredible year. So, gotta give credit to the Ohio State product. Monster. And finally, Kansas City Chiefs. I'm gonna say this: the Chiefs, number one, that was a good solid performance. They needed it. They needed it bad because, look, still. It was a huge win for them overall to get back into the playoff push, but again, a lot of those teams ahead of them have the head-to-head matchup, right? I mean, the interesting thing is Kansas City sneak in. I kind of hope not because I kind of like the playoff picture side of it. But even then, like, yeah, you won the game, but it wasn't particularly impressive, right? I think that's what's interesting, right? Kansas City won, and they weren't impressive. So if they can figure out how to be impressive again, scary, a little scary is all. Honestly, I'm weird. I should be hate watching the Kansas City Chiefs, but yet I don't know why. I just don't. I don't get as passionately annoyed by the Chiefs as I do other teams. Like, I get annoyed by them, like, on certain things, but for me to do it every single week, I just don't have. I spent so much of that hatred and passion on the New England Patriots that I don't really spend it that much on. Like, I feel like I would have the Steelers played them in more. Like, Bills fans, oh, I would totally get. I totally get the absolute hatred coming from, like, a Bills fan, a Bengals fan, Ravens fan. Because my team's kind of mid and never really has a shot anyway, like, to beat them, I just don't feel that same hatred right now. I always felt like we had a shot to beat New England in, like, a lot of matchups, and that was, like, I don't know. My hatred for them is just not as fueled. It's not as strong. I hopefully get stronger. I really do, because I really don't need to see. I'd see the only. I can't believe I'm saying it. I actually rather see over the Chiefs. That's not even true though. Actually, I take that back. I don't want to see the Patriots. I don't know if I want to see Drake May. I don't think the Patriots need to be back there. Just don't. Don't need to see New England. Not in the playoffs. Don't need to see. Not over like Josh Allen or even Lamar Jackson. I think I'd prefer Lamar. Say it like it is, man. And then the Colts. Speaking of okay, I got some issues with the Colts when they played this game. What was that? Like, Jonathan Taylor 3 carries in the fourth quarter when you're leading? Why? Like, your best player. By default. By infinity, your best player. Why does he only have 3 carries in the fourth quarter? That's your best player. That's your whole identity. Forget best player. That's your whole offensive identity, and you're just going to go away from it? I don't understand why teams do this. Teams go away from their identity when playing the best teams. Makes no sense. You don't, like, teams think, oh, we need to pass every day. Like, they think we're going to run it. No. What you do is you run it, and 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 then you pass it. Like, the whole point is it's supposed to be a surprise. But it only surprises them the first time. Then they're going to be prepared for the pass the rest of the drive. So, I feel like you gotta stick to your identity spots. So just because the game was there. The game was there. They were up 2 scores for the game. Like the game was there. They threw it all away. Even won it. Sad, really. But you know what? It helps my Jaguar predictions. And finally, we have Panthers. And listen, I'll say this. I don't believe any of these. I don't believe in San Francisco. I don't really believe in because they're so banged up. I don't really believe in Carolina because I don't believe in Bryce Young. I know everybody wants him to be great. Everyone's like, Bryce Young has wabi sabi, right? Like the Bobby Hill, Hank Hill, me, edit, whatever. He's not great, guys. Okay, he's great against Atlanta, but he's not really particularly great against any. Look, we'll see what he looks like in San Francisco. But you know who he's going to be going up against? As much as it is a banged-up defense, it will also be against Robert Saleh, who is a good defensive coordinator. So, my eyes, I don't see Carolina. I don't see Carolina winning. I have San Francisco. I think Brock Purdy being back adds another adds another level of depth to offense. And I think Bryce Young just doesn't really elevate this team. I don't. I think this team is just simply better than Atlanta. I think the team is better coached than Atlanta, but I don't think Bryce Young is the reason that they're elevated at a high level. I would personally... I mean, you obviously see some of the moments. I think the fact that he's undersized and the fact that it's just not consistent like incredible, insane highs against bad teams, incredible lows against slightly better or better. I have San Francisco taking down Bryce Young tonight. I just think the reality of the situation. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think they're probably going to take down Carolina tonight. At this point, that is all I have for you tonight. Maybe it is allergies because I can just feel it. Like it's just like a slight tickling. Not snotty. It's not stuffed, but I can feel like a. That's gonna be it for me. Gonna be it for Free Refill episode 23. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always. That's all. Like a little comment. I'll be back. So before I end, I want to go over what probably gonna be. Tuesday, Taff and I should be here. Because Thanksgiving and stuff, probably not. I mean absolutely not doing it. Be on the road. Caught up. Gonna be on the road for Thanksgiving Day. Not gonna be up in time. Pretty much it. That's the main. Sunday, I am gonna guarantee that I will be here for Sunday. So we game show, but outside of that, that's all I've got. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys. I go eat some dinner and watch Panthers 49ers. Parlays, cash them in. Got fantasy players. Good luck. Hope Christian McCaffrey wins the game. I don't really think. Oh, you know what? I hope George Kittle goes for 70 because I need that to happen to win. Outside of that, that's all I've got. You guys have a good night. Later. Bye.